Now, everybody, gas prices are beginning to increase again. That's some sad news, but the Democrats and Republicans are now discussing the next steps that will be taken to address the soaring inflation rate. So far, several lawmakers have already proposed a one-time stimulus check for pretty much all Americans, while others have also put forward legislation that would actually give monthly relief checks, but to a more targeted group of people. Now, this may mean some people may be left out of extra financial aid, and also Governor Newsom is criticizing the oil companies who we say are fleecing Californians with gas prices that are disproportionately and higher in the Golden State. In a recent video, Newsom said that in the windfall tax, it would ensure the profits go directly back to help millions of Californians who are paying for the high gas prices. Democratic leaders in the California legislature do support the windfall tax on the oil profits, and while Republicans believe Newsom should suspend the state gas tax to provide some relief at the gas pump, it's just not happening. Gas prices in California are continuing to creep up again, reaching an average of $6.30 a gallon for regular on Saturday. And according to multiple sources, in Los Angeles, gasoline prices hit $6.50. That's up from 7 cents a day before. How can things like this happen, everybody? Well, Newsom is saying that the degree of diversions from the national prices have never happened before, and oil companies provide no explanation. And we're not going to stand by while oil companies negatively affect Californians. Explanations for the rise in fuel costs have ranged from refinery maintenance, Hurricane Ian, and increasing demand as well. AAA data shows that Californians are being disproportionately impacted, so this might not be a good thing for California. California has seen gas prices climb by more than $1 per gallon over the past month nationally, while prices have decreased by 3 cents all across the United States. Newsom recently announced that oil refineries could roll out winter blend gasoline ahead of schedule, which could reduce the gas price of up to 25 cents a gallon. Starting next week, millions of Californians will also begin receiving tax refunds of up to $1,000 just to help offset rising inflation. Several other states are already sending taxpayers money to help them cope with inflation, and in Georgia, taxpayers received up to $500 in one-time tax refunds over the summer. So the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, he said this, everybody. He said as hardworking Georgians face rising inflation caused by federal government policies, we are doing what we can to provide relief by returning their money back into their pockets. In other places like Colorado, states are required by law to return excess state revenue to taxpayers. So tax rebates have already been sent out that were worth around $700.50 just for the individual tax filers, everybody, and $1,500 for joint filers. So it's labeled as a cashback program. The Democratic governor, Jared Polis, said the state moved up sending the refunds by about a year because residents needed it now and sooner than later. But not only that, almost everybody has felt the sting of rising prices. As of August, 60% of Americans were living paycheck to paycheck. And not only that, but a jump from the previous year's 38%, CNBC News stated that more consumers are living paycheck to paycheck and indicates that many people are continuing to lose their financial stability. The Consumer Price Index, for one, has measured the average change in prices for consumer goods and services. It rose higher than expected in 8.3% in August. It's driven by increases in food, shelter, and Medicare care costs. So, although the average hourly earnings also rose a seasonally adjusted 0.2% for the month, they remain down 2.8% from a year ago, which means those paychecks don't stretch as far as they used to. It's not a good thing, everybody. And a separate report by Bank of America found that 71% of workers feel their pay is not enough to keep up with the cost of living, bringing the number of people who feel financially secure to a 5-year low. Many Americans are dipping into their cash reserves. To be eligible, everybody, applicants must file returns as full-time Maine residents. Individuals must also not file as dependents and make less than $100,000 a year. So that's actually some good news because many people are ready to see stimulus checks and people can actually receive more stimulus money this year compared to the years before. So this is good. Some good news, finally, checks are going to be deposited in just 3 days, and around $1,500 stimulus checks will finally begin going out. Lawmakers in Congress have said that this relief cash is just meant to help Americans financially, as the cost of living continues to rise. Some economists and Republicans say that these relief payments will only increase inflation. So be sure to continue watching to see if you want to receive the stimulus. Relief is going out to millions of Americans this October. Several states are sending taxpayers to help them cope with inflation. However, economists warned that the payments will do little to alleviate the pain of rising costs and could further fuel inflation. For instance, in the state of California, about 23 million qualifying taxpayers are expected to receive up to $1,500, everybody. $1,500, and that's also with smaller payments going to higher earners. The payments, which are technically tax refunds, will actually begin going out this month, and they're also meant to help address the rising cost. According to California Governor Gavin Newsom, if you filed electronically and you received a tax refund by direct deposit, then you can expect to receive your middle-class tax refund by direct deposit as well. So we're finally seeing some huge developments taking place. People are receiving the stimulus money that everybody's talking about, and now it's time for some more breaking news. Also in the state of Georgia, taxpayers have received $500 in one-time tax refunds. That's $500, and then the Georgia governor also said, as working hard Georgians face rising inflation caused by the failed government, we are doing what we can to provide relief by returning the money back into their pocket. For families struggling to pay for gas and other everyday costs, having some extra cash could actually offer some short-term relief. But economists are putting more money into the economy can drive up the demand and prices for everybody. So Beth Akers, a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, said in a statement, handing out dollars in an inflationary environment will only make matters worse. So these are the type of people that are not pushing for stimulus payments, and they're actually holding the stimulus checks back, and that's not what we need right now. On Friday, the Federal Reserve pressured and preferred measure of inflation showed that the prices are still rising 6.2% in August compared to a year ago. The central bank is also supposed to keep up with rising inflation under control, and it can keep raising interest rates, and unfortunately the higher rates can create economic pain for Americans by making it more expensive to borrow money. So the Fed raised its benchmark rate by 0.75 of a percentage point for the third time in a row early this month. Jason Furman, an economic advisor for the Obama administration, has also argued that the payments in California, one of the biggest programs, could contribute to rising prices. Still, politicians are eager to sell the payments as a helpful benefit to taxpayers in a midterm election year. Now, another round of funding is set to replenish New York's depleted pool of rent relief. Once again, it won't even come close to covering the state's estimated need. The U.S. Treasury Department will send around $100 million to help cover New York renters' costs. Landlords have also been able to evict tenants with pending applications, so people need the money. Over 135,000 applicants are still waiting for some relief. At the average payout, it would take around $1 billion to fill those requests. The latest federal infusion marks the third time New York has relieved and sent out money like this. New York got $27 million in December and $120 million in March after the governor actually presented a huge stimulus bill that helps so many people. And also, let's not forget about this, but the IRS.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. And now last month, Bloomberg reported that Wells Fargo is planning a major retreat from its mortgage business, which, boy, I do not like the sound of those words. Those mortgage operations are, of course, one of the primary businesses in Iowa. And can you confirm whether that story is